r/ask Reddit. Which propaganda effort was so successful? People still believe it today? That teeth are supposed to be perfectly white. Teeth are supposed to be off-white. Think of teeth like skin. Skin comes in different shades, just like teeth. At least that's what my dentist told me while he was checking my prostate. Think of teeth like skin. What the duck did you just bring upon this cursed land? Many Korean people believe that fans can cause death. Even my mother, who moved to America in her mid-teens, still prohibits me from leaving a fan on overnight for fear of death. There is a conspiracy theory that the South Korean government spread this myth as propaganda to prevent energy overusage, but its origins are unknown. It's strange that many Koreans believe this myth considering it is one of the most technologically advanced countries. It's a real danger. Remember, John Lennon was killed by a fan. Sigh. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Carrots make your vision better. This rumor was started in World War II to hide the invention of radar. The public was told that Allied pilots found the German bombers during the Blitz because they had good eyesight because they ate their carrots. But in reality it was that the British had an early radar system in place that they did not want the Germans to find out about and bomb. And that carrots were an abundant vegetable at that time in the war. That Napoleon Bonaparte was short. He was 5 feet and 7 inches tall, which might be a little bit on the shorter side by modern standards, but it was around the average height for people back then. The idea that he was short actually came from a British propaganda campaign to mock him. Also, due to starting out as an artillery officer, when he got high rank, he sometimes liked to micromanage the cannons, a job meant for corporals. This earned him the nickname Little Corporal from his troops. It's a term of endearment. The Brits may have heard it and put more emphasis on the little part. It really must be underscored how little or petty is often an adjective that suggests endearment in French. Another example, boy girlfriend translates to petit ami petite amie, or little friend. That big curvy line of toothpaste with a Dairy Queen curl we've seen in every toothpaste ad. You don't need more than a pea-sized smear of paste on your brush. I always only use a little pea-sized, but I have also never really thought about the massive squeeze they put on the brush in the commercials. LOL. Do you think they did this so you go through their product faster, meaning you have to buy more? That's exactly why. Same goes for other things, e.g. the Plop Plop Fizz Fizz commercial for Alka-Seltzer showing the person taking 2 tablets. Columbus was the only person who believed the world was round. Literally everyone who could read knew that the earth was round. Nobody thought Columbus would fall off the edge. They thought his crew would starve to death before reaching the East Indies. And he totally would have. Columbus was lucky that there was a new continent where he thought Asia was. New continent. Sugar companies paid the media to say that fat made you fat. I mean, all food in extreme amounts will put you on the heavy side. But sugar is the true villain here. There's a book written in the 80s I think called The White Death. The author was basically hounded almost to death by sugar companies and mocked and treated like scum for telling the truth. Edit. Massive facepalm for going blank on The White Death. Legendary Finnish sniper. Even though many of you kept bringing him up, I completely forgot it was his book that was named that and not the sugar one. You may be thinking of Pure, White, and Deadly. Also, check out Dr. Lustig's talk on high fructose corn syrup. https://youtube bthg8tls 4 edit. Whoa. Thanks for the platinum, kind stranger. Diamonds as a symbol of eternal love. Every kiss begins with slaves. I think I watched that porno. Apparently in the 80s KFC ran a Christmas themed ad in Japan, and to this day the Japanese eat KFC on Christmas. When I was in Japan on Christmas, I won some dumb quiz at a party and they gave me fried chicken because they believed that was our traditional Christmas food. It was ridiculous and it is one of those really odd memories of mine. Hate to break it to Japan, but Chinese takeout is the official food of Christmas. That is if some dog related tragedy befalls your turkey. That if you ask if someone is a cop, if they are a cop they legally are required to say yes they are. Of course they aren't required to. That defeats the entire purpose of working undercover. It's standard procedure while working undercover to say yes LOL when asked if you're a cop. Bonus points for dabbing. I saw a documentary recently about a former undercover cop in the UK. Apparently he once got in a car and had a gun pulled on him. They asked, "Are you a cop?" He said, "Yes, of course I am." They all bust out laughing and he kept his cover. Edit. This is a link for people who want to watch it. https://yahoo bw2tczvwdec. When Edward Bernays, the father of public relations, literally renamed propaganda that we want people to think is not bad to public relations and advertising. And he literally admitted it in a book he made called Propaganda. Propaganda is, quite literally, just media that is attempting to persuade you. It might be honest or dishonest, but, no matter what, it is still propaganda. That touching a baby bird will make its mother reject it. Lies. Put the baby back in the nest if Taucan. Edit. I am leaving the typo because it's hilarious. Edit 2. Specifically babies, hatchlings and nestlings. Don't put fledglings back in the nest. And when in doubt, call a rehabber for advice. Edit 3. OMGGG. Propaganda. The spread of misinformation to further a cause. This misinformation is spread by people who know better to keep people from messing with wildlife. Open bracket. Except it kills more than it saves. So no, it isn't political, but it is most definitely propaganda. But don't touch baby rabbits. I watched my pet mama rabbit eat all her babies one by one after we handled them. Well, I didn't watch it, but they disappeared pretty fast and my parents were horrified, trying to keep the blood cleaned up so my 7-year-old self wouldn't see the gore. Side note, kids are smart. Just be honest with them. I knew what was happening. Oddly enough, that doesn't really apply to wild rabbit, at least not cottontails and swamp rabbits we have here. But I have heard it about domestic breeds. That the old woman who sued McDonald's over burning herself with her coffee was just money hungry. For clarity, an elderly woman was a passenger in a car, pulled over in the lot to add sugar after getting a coffee and it spilled all over her lap. It burned her really bad and she just set out to get McDonald's to pay her hospital bills. BC, they served the coffee way too hot. They ended up launching this whole PR campaign where they smeared this poor lady, even taking out spots in local papers over how silly and money hungry she was. Comedians, musicians, and radio hosts made fun of her and made her out to be money hungry instead of a victim. Yeah, she had 3rd-degree burns on her genitalia. She originally requested that they pay her 5-figure medical bills. They stonewalled. She sued and it was the judge who decided to make an example out of them, since it was proven that they has been purposely selling near boiling cups of coffee to discourage refills, despite being warned that this was unhealthy and that the cups were not made to hold liquids that hot. I subject anyone who continues to make smart-ass comments to court photos of her burned genital area. In addition, the payment the judge ordered were the revenues from 2 days worth of coffee sales for McDonald's. They barely really felt it. Edit. 2 days revenues, not 1 day's profits. Per comments below. Edit 2. People are claiming $500,000 or $600,000 settlements, less than the $3 million cost of 2 days coffee revenue, if they ever made the settlement amount public. I didn't find it in a quick search. Here are some facts, though. https://www.koch.org PG = facts. Knuckle cracking gives you arthritis. If it did, I would make a living being the overly dramatic old white person in infomercials that can't pick up a bottle. And I'm only 31. Is cracking your knuckles actually bad for you in any way? The myth that Spartans threw unhealthy babies off mountains. This was Athenian propaganda. Edit. Holy crap, I got a silver. Thank you, anonymous person. Actually, people from every polis would abandon babies if they felt like it. Open bracket. See Oedipus. The Athenians claimed that Spartans ritualized the practice. The Spartans' main problem was all the child raping. Edit. To all you people who think I'm talking about pederasty, I'm not. I'm talking about the process by which boys as young as 7 would be sent to have sex with a retired general to toughen them up, or the fact that in military camps younger boys would be beaten and raped as part of a hazing ritual. There was also a lot of slave raping going on. Pederasty wasn't uniquely Spartan, it was a Greek and Roman thing. That fat is unhealthy, the nutrient that is, not actually being fat. Fat is a necessary part of any diet. Eliminating it completely will never be healthy. To quote Paracelsus, A Swiss physician born in the 1490s. The dose makes the poison. Absinthe makes you horeless, and it was propaganda because it was hurting the wine industry. Propaganda. Do you have a cold? Too much absinthe. That turning the light on in the backseat of the car is illegal. James, damn it Ted, we're getting pulled over. You just had to have the light on, didn't you? Ted, we're not getting pulled over because of the light. We're getting pulled over because you were speeding. James, I can't hear you over the blinding glare of that light. What are you reading anyways? Game of Thrones? Spoiler alert. Ted, the new season sucks and the books are way. James, shut up Ted. Nobody cares. He's coming. Act natural. Actually no, you act weird. I'll act natural. You're my alibi Ted. Play along or I swear to God. Oh hi. Officer, how are you doing this luscious evening? Officer, do you know why I pulled you two over? James, I'm afraid I do. The light, right? Don't worry, I can explain. My friend here is new to this country. Officer, him? James, yes, he comes from a faraway village in, well, why don't you tell him? Ted Hamed? Ted Hamed. Oh yes, I am Ted Hamed. Good to make your meetings. James, go on. Tell him where you're from. Ted, I am from Escobar. Officer, Escobar? Ted, yeah I mean, yes. Officer, they read Game of Thrones in Escobar? James, he only reads it for the incest. Ted, actually James, yep, those Escobarians sure love their incest. Officer, well then. James, so Ted, there's no cars in Escobar. Huh, Ted, only a donkey. James, then it makes total sense that you wouldn't know about the no lights in the car rule. Glad we got to the bottom of that. Don't worry officer, I'll straighten him out. Ted Hamed, you are a bad fob. We're taking you right back to the border. Officer, sir, I pulled you over because you were going 85 in a 60. James, so not because of the light? Officer, no. James, oh, in that case I should mention, I too am from Escobar. I am first time riding steel donkey. No familiar ratings with this speedly moot. Many thankings for the upheads. I am now only to ride gentle and safe like sweet home Alabamas. Officer, alright both of you out of the vehicle. Put your hands over your heads and lean against the hood while I search the car. James, damn it Ted, I knew you shouldn't have left the light on. Ted, this isn't happening because of the ducking light, moron. It's because you sped then lied to the cop. James, no I get that now. I just mean the light being on is going to make it a lot easier for him to find all the cocaine I have in the bag. The light being on is going to make it a lot easier for him to find all the cocaine I have in the bag. That's a twist. Message will kill you and is horrible to ingest. I'm allergic to MSG really. It is delicious and your body produces it naturally while breaking down regular salt. Some people do have sodium issues, and it may not be good for them, but that's a tiny micro percentage of people. There's message in breast milk, tomatoes and parmesan cheese etc etc. It is a natural component of most protein containing foods. Sodium or glutamic acid are in literally everything, the latter being an amino acid. You couldn't be allergic to message without being allergic to those, at which point eating anything would be bad for you. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Serving it up Gary's way. Plague. People still believe dogs don't see in color, when in fact they do. They see less of it than humans do, but they most definitely see in color. A successful propaganda campaign by cats to smear their bitter rivals. Camels don't store water in their humps. They store fat in their humps. They store fat in their humps. Me too camels. Me too. Edit. Thanks for the medals everyone, and for giving me a new top comment. You mean there isn't a bunch of water sloshing around in there like a big empty tank? Autism and vaccines. The original guy wanted to advertise his own vaccine but did not disclose this when he published a hit piece on the mainstream vaccine at the time. In a reputable journal, his alternative vaccine failed. His paper was bashed and ultimately retracted. Yet people smart enough to work at Google don't vaccinate their kids. Andrew Wakefield, a former gastroenterologist and the man responsible for this anti-vax shit show, originally wanted to prove that vaccines were responsible for bowel disease as well as linking it to autism. He was put through a tribunal by the GMC. It was found that not only had he lied about his research, but was found to have committed 12 acts of abuse against developmentally disabled children after he put them through unnecessary and invasive procedures to try and prove that vaccines were responsible for autism and bowel disease. He put young children through unnecessary colonoscopies and lumbar punctures, spinal taps. He was struck off from the medical register and is no longer allowed to practice medicine. He continues to make a living promoting and speaking at anti-vaccine propaganda events. People should remember that anti-vaxxers are looking to an abuser found to have put developmentally disabled children through unnecessary medical procedures for advice. Let's not understate how much of a piece of shit the man is. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.